Welcome to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Keith. If you're looking to manifest a life you don't need a vacation from, then you came to the right place. I quit my 9-to-5 job to stay home with my kids while building a thriving business. Now, as a best-selling author, app creator, and 3-times podcaster, I am here to teach you how to do the same. If you want to join my inner tribe, head over to the Manifest It Now app. And now let's dive in to the podcast where I'm going to give you my best manifestation hacks and tips so that you can manifest a life full of abundance, freedom, and fulfillment. Hello, and welcome to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. I am your host, Stephanie Keith. All right, so before we dive into today's episode, I do want to let you know that October is always the biggest, most exciting month, I feel like, in the Manifest It Now app. I get super into Halloween and the witchy vibes and all that kind of stuff. And we have all sorts of good things lined up this month in the app. And there's over 200 manifestation hacks and different tools and methods that are all proven, tested out by me, tested out by my people in the inner tribe, and people get amazing results. So since October is such a big month, we are doing 50% off. So you get in the app all year long for 50% off, access to everything. So all of the tools, the whole subliminal library. I have meditations, hypnosis. I have courses, entire courses on manifestation and manifesting money. We have challenges to walk you through day by day. So if you only have, a few minutes every day to commit to your manifesting routine, that's a great way to get started. We have an entire vault of the Inner Tribe membership where you have expert master classes. We have workbooks filled with journal prompts, everything you can imagine. So if you want to join, now is the time to join, because in the month of October, I'm giving you 50% off. So take advantage of it now. All right. So today we're going to talk all about intuition and tapping into it, and why it's so important, and why this is the one thing that can completely change your entire life. It's the one thing that will reveal the best possible path towards whatever it is you want to manifest. So if you're thinking, I want, more money, I want to move, I want to find love, I want to be happier, healthier, and you have this vision in your mind and it seems so impossible, how am I ever gonna achieve this? And you just don't see the way. This is when you want to tap into your intuition, because the answer is right there, and it's always right there. It's just that we've never been taught to really become acquainted with our intuition and learn how to look for signs that give us the answers that we're seeking. And so I want to get into a little bit of the science behind this and how this isn't just some woo-woo out there concept. I know that it works because I've used it in my own life. And when I first started tapping into my intuition, it was around the time, the end of college. And I've always been, a people pleaser, and I'm going to do exactly what everyone always tells me to do. And I was pretty miserable. It really wasn't getting me to this place of feeling happy and fulfilled. And I just felt like I was pushing against the current instead of flowing with what I really felt called to do. And at the time, I didn't know anything about intuition, manifestation, none of it. And I just remember kind of declaring to myself that I'm not going to worry about people pleasing or doing what anyone else tells me to do. I am going to listen to my heart. From here on out, I'm going to listen to my heart. And as long as I listen to my heart, I know, I had this deep sense of knowing that everything would work out and everything would be okay. And I would be a hell of a lot happier than if I kept listening to my brain tell me, you should do this, even though you really don't want to, and it seems awful. And I've trusted it every step of the way, and it has never led me astray. 100% of the time, it has been spot on and unveiled things that I don't think I ever would have otherwise figured out. So it's really important. And to get into like some of the, science behind it, and, mainly for people who are skeptical or don't trust their intuition, or, think it's all woo woo or whatever. First of all, the CIA develops this. They help their agents develop their intuition. So it starts with a hiring process where they actually look for people who are already intuitive, who are already good at tapping in to that, whatever you want to call it, that sixth sense, that instinct. They look for that. That is actually a criteria that they look for in their candidates. And they have a whole program designed to help you develop it and work with it and tune into it. You think about like detectives, right? And like they'll call it a hunch, like they have a hunch about something or like a feeling or whatever. A lot of them use their intuition. Mothers use this all the time with their children. I mean, how many times have you heard people talking about like a motherly instinct? They just instinctively know what's going on with their child even before their child can speak. They're tuning in to this thing that you can't see, but it's there. You can feel it and you know that it's there. And even people like I love like science, and some of the most popular scientists like Nikola Tesla was huge on this. Even Edison and Einstein, they both kind of, I think that Einstein learned this from Edison, but they were really big on tapping into their intuition, and they knew that if they were trying to figure something out, they were trying to like crack the code, right? And figure out like the next piece of the equation, they would have the question on their mind, and then they would take a nap. They would go to sleep and take a nap, knowing that if they went to sleep with that question on their mind while they're in that theta brainwave state, that the answer would be provided upon waking up. Because when you go to sleep with a question on your mind, and this doesn't have to pertain to science, this could be a question about what you should do next in your life. Should I take the job? Should I start my own business? Should I end a relationship? Should I start a relationship? Should I move to Florida or stay in Illinois? Like anything in your life, you can go to sleep with that question on your mind. And what happens is your subconscious will then search through that catalog of data that it saw throughout the day and try to find the answer to that question. So you've heard me say this, and I will say it a million more times because it's so mind-blowing. So if you haven't yet fully grasped it, I'm just going to keep saying it. The subconscious mind, in any given second, in 1 second, it is processing 11 million bits of data. And your conscious mind is processing like 100 to 200 bits of data. So 11 million versus 100. There's a lot there that is not processed for us consciously. And part of that is things that we consciously can't see, can't hear, can't even begin to understand. You think about even just like UV rays and like frequencies and radio waves and all of these things that we know are true. They've been proven by science. We know that they work, but we can't pick up on them. We can't see like these radio waves in the air, for example, but we know that they're there, right? The subconscious is picking up on all of it, all of the energy, everything happening. And it can sift through all of that information to look for answers that you just can't consciously pick up on or understand, or for whatever reason, you're like blocked, you're blind to it. It's right in front of you, but for whatever reason, for your beliefs, whatever, you can't see it. So this is why it's so important to like set intentions and to really start asking questions. So we talk a lot about goal setting and setting intentions, and that's great. But I've had so many people recently come to me, especially like with the digital CEO course, where they're like, I want to do that. I want to leave my job. I would love to start my own app. I would love to create my own business, but I don't even know what I would do. I'm clueless. I have no idea. This is where you can really benefit from starting to just ask questions. And this was like, I would say this was the most eye-opening thing that happened this year in both my masterminds and my group coaching, was getting people to like flick that switch where they understood, number one, how to ask the question and tune in to find the answer, and number two, to trust it and to know that it works. And when those two things happened, everything, the path revealed itself and everything started to work out. So like in the mastermind, everyone came into it thinking like, well, I want more money. Like it's a money mastermind, right? It's about money mindset. I want to overcome limiting beliefs around money. And we did that. We absolutely did that. But I think what was unexpected for a lot of people was that when you remove those blocks and you start asking the question, instead of trying to figure out how, you ask the question, how? Like, show me the way. Whether you're talking to God, the universe, this source energy, the collective whole, your intuition, your subconscious, like whatever you feel comfortable referring to, knowing that you can ask the question and then just simply wait and allow the answer to come instead of trying to force it and figure everything out yourself with your conscious mind that can only process 100 bits of data per second, instead of tuning into this infinite wisdom that you have access to. And so that's kind of the thing that happens, is like you start to learn how to tap into it, and then you treat it like a science experiment, okay? So like let's think of this as steps. Step number one, I'm going to tell you how to tap into it. We'll get to that in just a sec. Step number two is you're going to go forward like a scientist, okay? So you're simply doing an experiment where you're going into it with no bias, no judgment. You're just going into it with an open mind. You're going to try these things, and then you're going to wait and see the results. And then you can develop your hypothesis or your opinions or your judgment once you see the results, okay? So that's what I'm going to ask you to do, is just remove that skepticism and try it out. And what do you have to lose by trying, right? I mean, like nothing. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. And so we're going to like get into how to tap into it. And by the way, like we've all heard the saying, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. That's where this comes from. Because when you slow down, you start to go within. You start to tap into your intuition, tap into the energy of the environment, the collective source. And when you do that, you get the answers. It's like taking the express lane on the highway, right? You just flow and you like instantly get the answers that you're looking for, versus the other lane where there's traffic and there's people honking and there's all these, distractions going on. That's the way that I kind of look at it. It's like you can do it the hard way, and you've been doing it the hard way. We've all been doing it the hard way because that's the way we were taught. Or you can try taking the express lane. And by taking the express lane, you kind of like put the car on autopilot. You drown out what's happening in those other lanes, and you just focus on you. You focus on your lane, and you get quiet and you relax and you go within. So number one, I'm going to give you like a few different ways to do this. I recommend trying them all. You've already tried them all, but you maybe have not like used them to their full potential because you didn't understand, what you could get out of this. But everyone's different and everyone does this a different way. And the most popular way that we hear about all the time is meditation. And this is one of the reasons. I mean, there's so many benefits from meditation, but like that is what it's used for. It is a tool to help you connect to yourself, to this energy, this source energy, the universe, God. Again, like you use whatever lingo you want to use, but it is merely like a tool to help you connect. And that's where the disconnect came from me, because I am not the type of person that can sit still. Like if you know me, you know I'm always moving. I don't sit down. When I sit down, I go to sleep at the end of the night. Like I am moving all day long. And sitting down and meditating was a very hard concept for me. And so I just thought, well, I'm just not good at it. I can't do it. I'm not like one of the enlightened ones, you know? But there's so many different ways. And with meditation, what I did, and again, I did this because I was so desperate. I was having panic attacks. I was in my day job. I was miserable. And by 2:00 every day, like I wanted to go home. I was so like beaten down emotionally and mentally that I wanted to like bail out at like 2:00. And so what I would do is instead of going and getting my Starbucks to like rev me back up, well, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of times I did still get the Starbucks, but what I would do is I would sit in my car and I would play a 3-minute meditation. 3 minutes. And this is why, by the way, a lot of people, like the number one piece of feedback I get about the Manifest It Now app is that they want longer subliminals. So I have started putting longer subliminals in there, but there's a lot of subliminals that are like 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, because you don't need to sit there for 8 hours or 20 minutes or an hour. 3 minutes. It has been scientifically proven. There's studies showing that 3 minutes of, you can call it meditation, or you can even just call it like being quiet, like quieting down your mind for 3 minutes has tremendous benefits on everything, your health, your emotional state, your mental state. But what it does is it gets you to switch gears, okay? So we have the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere. The left hemisphere is the masculine energy. It's like taking action and being very analytical and strategic and like reasonable and practical. And you're using your conscious mind to like find answers and solutions. And it's very important. It's a very important part of our society and the way we live. The problem is we are like so trained to only stay in that energy, especially while we're at work and like the 8-hour workday. So we're just like overly extended on the conscious strategic side. And then we're not utilizing the right side of our brain. And the right side of your brain is going to be more of that subconscious, tapping into your intuition, how like you're feeling, that gut feeling, your emotions, like the non-verbal, non-language side of your mind, okay? Like your side that holds your creativity, your imagination. And so what happens is this very short meditation, think of it as like flipping a switch to quiet down that left side so that you can brighten up or turn on the light switch for the right side and start to look for some answers there. And what's really interesting is I started doing this in my day job. And it was like I would do this 3-minute meditation. And by the way, the 3 minutes felt like 3 seconds. And I was like, this is so easy. When you start out small, you realize this is so easy and I don't want it to stop. So I started building on that. Like I went from 3 minutes to 7 minutes to 10 minutes. And then eventually, like I would have to cut myself off at 20 minutes because I'm like, I've got to go back to work. My break is over. But what was really interesting is I would come out of that 3-minute meditation and I would feel like I had just had a 2-hour nap. Like I'd feel so rested and refreshed, and I'd have crystal clear clarity around what I needed to do the rest of the day. And some of the things that I did, some of like for example, I was in pharmaceutical sales, and I would, in this meditation coming out of it, I would just like know, okay, forget what's on my schedule. I need to go and talk to this office. And it might be like completely out of the way, but I would go and do that one thing, and it would have such a big impact on my numbers that it was like I felt like I was doing better than when I ran around making like dozens and dozens of calls. I would do better in my numbers and my bonuses and everything, just doing that one thing that came to me during this meditation. So it really was like my science experiment that showed me, okay, this is helping me tap in to something that's right there, but I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I kind of knew like, hey, the reason why my numbers aren't growing is because I'm looking at this all wrong. I'm burning myself out going around to all these people that don't want to talk to me when really I could go to this person and get them to do a little bit more and boom, I've got my numbers. So like it's very obvious answers that you're, for whatever reason, you're blocked to. So 3-minute meditation, try it. If you've not tried it, try it for 3 minutes. Like I said, there are short meditations and subliminals in the app to kind of like help guide you. So that's number one. Number two is actually napping or sleeping. So back to like Einstein and Edison. So they did not sleep a normal like 8-hour night. And by the way, the number of hours you sleep per night, it varies for everyone. I know like we always hear this information, you have to sleep 8 hours. It's different for everyone. And what Einstein and Edison found was that a 20-minute nap was like the equivalent of 1 hour sleep at night. So instead of sleeping through the night, they would take like various naps throughout the day. And like I said, they would go to sleep. They would fall asleep with a question, a very specific question on their mind. And what they would do is just ask that question over and over again. So you can ask it out loud. You can ask it in your mind. And again, you could do this on your break at work. Go out to your car, you know, while everyone else is like grabbing their coffee or going out to lunch, go out to your car and just ask the same question over and over and over again and close your eyes and just try, even if it's just like a quick cat nap, see if the answer comes to you when you wake up. When you go to bed at night, like something that might help is putting a reminder in your phone. So like as you're laying down, lights are off, you're closing your eyes, just keep asking that question over and over and over again. You could also write the question out if you want to keep like a journal next to your bed. And then when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have an answer, like write it down. So these are like little hacks that some of the greatest minds, the greatest inventors of our time did. And I mean, look at how many secrets of the universe were revealed to people like Einstein and Tesla and Edison. And these were just like little hacks that they did. So like, why not try it, you know? Okay, the third, and this was the most fun, like favorite part, I think, of the mastermind was teaching them how to ask for a sign. So when you need an answer, you can ask, again, the universe, God, your subconscious, whatever you feel comfortable with, for a specific sign. So you can do a couple of different things. Number one, ask the question. Again, you can say it out loud. You could say it like quietly to yourself or in your mind. You can write it out. You could do all three. It doesn't really matter, but just like clearly ask a question and pay attention. Because when you ask a question, you get an answer. You just do. I can't explain it. I just know that it happens. And it could be the universe or God or your spirit guides, or it could be your subconscious. It's like, oh, I better find the answer to this. And you find an answer. So you can ask a specific question. The second thing you could do is ask for specific signs. So like when I was wanting to move to Florida, but it was really scary because I'm like, I am packing up my family and moving them to a place where we know no one. We've never been. You know, is this going to like screw up my daughter? Is this going to like cause a divorce or something? Like, is this the right decision? It was it was probably the scariest thing I had to do. We didn't have jobs lined up. We didn't have housing or anything lined up. My intuition was screaming like, yes, do this. So I was asking for signs left and right. So I had the sign at the time of a rainbow. And I don't know why, I just picked it. And I mean, I was seeing rainbows everywhere. But then, you know, your doubt comes in and I would think, well, I mean, maybe that's not really my sign. Maybe there just happens to be a lot of like rain and sun at the same time and blah, blah, blah. I had these crystal lamps that were gifted to me. I didn't even buy them. They were gifted to me. And the way where they were sitting was like on a side table in front of the window, and the way the sun was coming through the window and hitting those crystal lamps, there were rainbows all over my room. Everywhere. I mean, everywhere. The whole wall was covered with rainbows. And that was the only time that happened, that I saw all these rainbows. So you can ask for like a specific sign to let you know I'm on the right track. Like if you're trying to do something, but you're really scared and you have a lot of doubt, you can just ask, like, show me my sign. And you'll probably start seeing it a lot. And if you ignore it, like my experience has been, is the sign will get more and more obvious. So we've got meditation, we've got naps or sleeping with a question, asking for a sign. This one is going outside. So in the summer, it's so humid here, but the rest of the year, I try to go for a walk every single morning. And I'm telling you, like, I call it getting downloads, because every single time that I am outside, just in nature, just like noticing the wind on my skin, the birds flying, the smell of like the rain or whatever, I get the most incredible downloads. And I will just know, hey, this is what I need to talk about on my podcast, or like I need to reach out to this person and see if they want to collaborate, or like whatever it is. I just get these crazy ideas. I will get like entire courses that will come through me on a walk. So get outside. Like if you're at work and you're overwhelmed and like you just can't think straight, go for a walk. Like just get outside and go for a walk. And I'm telling you, it's like you've got this clear antenna going from your head to the universe that's just like tapped into this infinite wisdom, and you just know, like you have this knowing of what to do. And that's the thing, when you get that inner knowing and it just feels right, that's your intuition. It's like your inner compass, your inner GPS that's nudging you along through your feelings. And if it feels right, if it feels good, if it feels like exciting, it might feel a little scary. It might be like that whole butterflies in your stomach kind of thing, but you just know like this is right. That's your intuition. And we've all had the other feeling too, where something just doesn't feel right. It's like that gut feeling like something is not right. Trust that as well, because that is your intuition trying to warn you of a danger or something that you are not picking up on consciously that you need to. So going outside. Along with that is grounding. So another thing that you can do in whenever, I mean, I like to do this in the morning, is just walk outside barefoot in the grass or the dirt, your garden. You can walk around even just for a few seconds. You can sit out there and like do your 3-minute meditation, but being barefoot, because shoes have rubber soles, which blocks the flow of electricity from, like your body through the earth. And what they found was that the second your body touches the earth, you're filled with electrons, like instantaneously. It's like you're recharging your battery. Like how we recharge our phone, you're recharging your battery, but it happens like instantaneously. So even if it's like 1 second of like just stepping out in the grass, it's really powerful to do that. So those are the different things. I'm going to recap it one more time. Meditation, just do 3 minutes. Grounding, you can just run outside, step in the grass. Going outside for a walk. Again, you can do this on your lunch break. Like this doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be even just for a few minutes. Asking for a sign. And then naps or sleeping with that question on your mind. So try those things out. And then I want you to kind of like keep a log of what comes through. What answers were revealed? How do you feel? And then trust that, like follow it. The next step is trusting it. Like once you can tap into it, then you trust it. And the way you build that trust is by taking action, by trying it out. Just like I said in the beginning, be a scientist and test it out. And if the results show that, hey, this actually was like a shortcut and the answer was revealed and I took the action and it worked out, well, then there is your hypothesis that this shit works. So go try it out. And like I said, if you need a little nudge, if you need some tools to help you get there, the Manifest It Now app is full of them, hundreds and hundreds of them, hours and hours and hours of videos and audios. And you can get half off this month in October. So if nothing else, just start focusing on your intuition. Like set the intention. I'm going to tap into my intuition. And if you can do that now, from here until the end of the year, I guarantee is going to be spectacular. It's going to be the best part of the year, and crazy shit will happen for you in the best possible way. All right. I hope everybody has a great week. Reach out to me on Instagram at Law of Attraction Tribe. Let me know what comes through when you do all these practices, and I'll see you back here next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys want more in between these podcast episodes, you can subscribe to my Apple podcast, Manifested It. You can find that in Apple Podcasts, and it has all of my bonus interviews, guided visualizations, subliminals, meditations, all that good stuff. Or you can download the Manifest It Now app, where I put everything, all of my interviews, tools, everything I've used to manifest a life I don't need a vacation from. You can find that wherever you get your apps, in Google Play or the Apple App Store. And you can join the Inner Tribe Manifesting community, which is inside the app as well, if you want to up level with a group of women who are there to support you, cheer you on, give you guidance, and up level your vibe. And if you love this episode, the best thing you can do to support the podcast is share it. Share it with a friend, share it on your Instagram. Make sure to tag me at Law of Attraction Tribe so I can share it back on my story as well. I love connecting with you guys and putting a face to all the listeners out there. So come connect with me over on Instagram and let's start a conversation. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here next time.